Welcome everyone to Listowel Writers Week 2013 and to our poetry reading. Today we'll be having poetry reading done by the Tralee Diverse Writers Group in Tralee, and we're going to do a few poetry performances together with music. And this year what we are celebrating is diversity. So we'll be having few people reading on diversity, and our theme is, can you imagine it, embrace it, and live it, a world of diversity. I hope you enjoy it.
So, what is it first of all? How does it enrich our life? And do we need to go looking for it? Diversity is variety and change, and variety can be the spice of life if we welcome it with open arms. It's like a drip feed creeping into our everyday being. A mature person, having experienced great change in the second half of the last century, could talk with enthusiasm on such topics as the transition from the telegram to letters, telephones, and on to emails. The invention of radio was another very important discovery, to be followed up with cinema and onto television in our homes. I was about 6 when television came to our house. I remember we had a choice of 2 channels. Today we have a choice of many channels. People with a strong flair for diversity continue to bring these type of changes and variety to all of us. And do we not just love it? A few famous inventors are springing to my mind as I write on this subject. Alexander Graham Bell introduced us to the telephone. Robert Peel moved us in the direction of living within the realms of law and order by promoting community policing and establishing the Metropolitan Police. Christopher Columbus was one of the first to tell us it was quite safe to travel the world without falling off, because it was not flat like a penny, but round like a ball. Galileo was able to tell us we would not float away into space neither, because gravity would keep us firmly grounded to the planet. These are but a few of the great people who helped us along the way. We all have to adhere to routines in our life, but all the time we are thinking of change. We get tired of our job and decide to make a change. We seek further education, change the style of our clothes, and develop new hobbies. We get married or divorced, move house. We could decide to relocate to a different area, maybe emigrate. I see here so far 2 ways in which diversity enters our lives. One is through people working for continual change for the common good of all, and the other is that which we create for ourselves. Then there is a natural way. Sometimes misfortune can knock on our door and cause sudden change. On a brighter note, we could win the lottery and become rich overnight. These are natural diversities in our life, and we have no influence over them. I think travelling has to be one of the most exciting ways of bringing diversity into our life. There was a time when this was only an option for wealthy people, but this is not the case anymore. Today we look forward to holidays abroad, and on our return we enjoy sharing our experiences with our friends and family. Travelling can indeed be an education in itself. I firmly believe that if you can't travel, you should read books about foreign countries and socialise with people of different cultures. Today in Ireland, we can pride ourselves in the fact that we are now a multicultural society. We enjoy all the excitement this diversity brings with it. When we dine out, our choice of cuisine is endless. Chinese, Indian, Thai, Italian and French restaurants are among the many interesting choices available to us. Many of our shops are now owned or rented by people of other nationalities and operating successfully. They bring to us new ideas, different fashions, an understanding of their cultures, and much more. Emigration is a very natural form of diversity. It is as simple as life should be. People reaching out to each other. We will enjoy a more enriched life if we work and socialise together. This, to me, is the most significant of all diversity. It is an indication that we are beginning to acknowledge that we are all from the one planet. Thank you.
Even more confusing to me, the first time I went to the theater, there was a concession price. Concessions in the US are food stands, so why did the tickets cost less? Concessions are the price for senior citizens, locally known as old age pensioners, students, the disabled, and the unemployed. In or out of doors, the language differences can be just as confusing. Stay on the footpath does not refer to a trail through the woods, but to an ordinary sidewalk. And the first floor is not the one you walk into from the outside. That's the ground floor. And the first floor, which is what we're on now, is one up, or the second floor in America. Want to go shopping? Well, from the sign painted on the road outside Dingle, it looks like Dingle would be the place. But go mall does not mean to find the nearest shopping center. It means to slow down, which no good shopper would do. Another sign found all over Ireland that is misleading is traffic calming ahead. No, it does not mean that the traffic will get calmer. It means it'll get worse. And heavy plant crossing doesn't mean trees will be going across the road, but that heavy equipment will be moving on the roadway. Even clothing can be confusing. An Irish jumper is not someone who has walked off a tall building, but a sweater. And a press is not what you do to your clothes with an iron, but a cupboard for sheets and towels. When a friend and I were at San Francisco Airport with her in a wheelchair, she asked the attendant if there was a lift nearby. Quickly, before he could call for a hoist, I said, she means an elevator. And when we returned to Ireland, I put my suitcase in the boot of the car, not the trunk, and she checked under the bonnet, not the hood, to make sure there was oil for the engine. I call my son on my mobile, he answers on his cell phone, and he says, goodbye, and I say, bye, bye-bye.
We celebrated seeing it from across from evening a few Frenchmen on the beach before Kerry County Council deemed it a little bit unenvironmentally friendly to have such activities there. They were playing pool, so my poem celebrates that. Pool on the beach. A little bit of quiet Paris, or quieter France, played on the confusion between grass and sand. A few blackberries, the reek of Gauloise, the clack of the boule, the éclaté de rire, a portable piece, faithfully lived on an accommodating evening, Thursday, July, Ross Bay Beach, before the deluge. Thank you.
Diversity. Diversity is a place where my mind wanders like a lost soul in a rain cloud. Diversity, each drop rolling down my face, tingles on my lips, tingles on my tongue. Clothes stick to me, stick to my skin. Diversity is a rainbow, ultraviolet light shining across the sea. It is when I realized you were different to me. Diversity is my horse that has given his head, the wild birds migrating south. Diversity is not grey, is not monotone, not a closed mind, something to disown. Diversity can be alone in a crowd, a fast car, a beggar, a bum. Diversity is rich for the want of you and the easing of pain. It is warmth and random, a kiss in the rain. Thank you.
This is a tune called Port na Pookie, and it's written about the whales.
We are hoping to celebrate imagination as well, bringing diversity in our poetry. And our theme this year is Imagine a World of Diversity. So that's why you're hearing different poets there writing what they think about diversity. So that's what we are really doing. And we're trying to combine diversity and poetry with music.
Coolan tea le sean a réir nach marn. Coolan tea. Tá tír na nóg a coolan tea. Tír áling trí na chéile. Lúgt cemicás ar siúl na slí. Gan bróg áú na léine. Gan béir le cáil na gweilge. Ach fás an clóg ar gach drim sa tír seo trí na chéile. Is lauter tenger coolan tea. Nar hí hén farach éisip. Is tá sé siút sa chrénis. Tá carcáin is áil sé cín is lacharíon má héalach, is gair mór dóm go leid sa tír ag drana le gach éine, is an cas ag crú na gréine. So chuing a hir pa bam travíl is húnta sí an télan, chun lór búclís an hatatí, is trumpa ball of néise, is kittle gé mór bán. Is ána hagan na tincéri go néfa trí na céile. Tá gaile cáil a coolan tí, is bíd ag írig deirca, ar chúl gach tí an éirn. Bhálum ver coolan tí sa dorca go déanach, go bheiking án ar cúr galí an talahín sin éisip is é ina fócalénta.
Tina drove round the corner and I turned to get in the door. The door shut with a big bang. I tried to push open the door, but soon realized I was locked outside. A sheet of grey was covering the sky. Everything that possibly belonged to me was locked inside. The evening seemed darker and colder than ever. With not sufficient protection from cold, no phone, no money, no keys, I stood outside. I did not see anybody. Sure, it was Friday evening, time to unwind. A total stranger to the area. Knocking at the neighbors seemed a bit of an intrusion. My apartment was part of this bigger house. We shared a common car park. They would have noticed me. Seeing no option, I knocked at the door. A tall man answered the door. After a one-sided pleasantry and no exchange, I requested if he could ring the landlady. I explained my situation, but soon realized he did not understand the language I spoke. My alternate method of communication too seemed ineffective. I thanked him, and before I could leave, he shut the door. Composed, I decided to knock at the second door now. The door was answered by a young man and two boys on either side. He exchanged my greetings. Hello in reply was very encouraging. He was more communicable and patient, in spite of a young lady, probably his wife, muttering in the background. I did not understand what she said, but certainly her tone suggested something that does not need a language. I pursued to tell my tale to the young man at the door. My keys and the locked door was weighing on my mind. The evening had turned really grey by now. I requested if he could drop me to Tina's place, a good 20 kilometers. What? He exclaimed, and to my disbelief he asked, Are you sure you live here? I nearly freaked at this query. He turned around as if to go in, but turned around again and said, Can I climb into the backyard? He did not wait for an answer, walked out of his door, jumped onto the wall, not very high, climbed onto my kitchen window, pushed open the top horizontal window and pulled the latch of the big window, stepped onto my kitchen counter and jumped inside and opened the door. I thanked him profusely. He rushed back to his house, second door to mine. I got in and thought, probably the young man had an earlier experience. His brain processed all the steps to get into the house just too fast. I sealed the kitchen window forever. I realized this was the only window in the apartment that opened through which my neighbor had just made an entry in a most dramatic way. The other bedroom window was a double-glazed, wall-to-wall glass without a facility to open. I realized the importance of keys. Probably keys came into existence when trust was lost. Thank you.
I woke up and had a feeling like I want to fall in love. I started looking for a man who looks exactly like me. I met this man who looks exactly like me. So I fell in love with this man who looks exactly like me. Oh, thank you, he said. You two look exactly like me. In my fantasy, I tried to draw this man. I drew a head, a stomach, and two legs. I'm sure you remember this in your first year in school. This man turns around and says, Really, missus, you don't look exactly like me. You have two trees straighting out from your chest. Then I remembered also, he has 3 legs coming down from his waist. We both walked away as he said, You don't look exactly like me. I met a madam who I thought looked exactly like me. Can we be together, madam? You look exactly like me. You look like me, missus, but we were not born the same time. Now I realize we didn't even come from the same town. In search of my love, I met age range, who were born the same day. But he said, Yes, missus, but we don't chase the same wind. I like to write, you like to draw. I compose myself, you like to crawl. I take things too serious, but you laugh away. When I go to the right, you go to the left. So you see, we don't have much in common. In frustration, I retire to my dream in search of who looks exactly like me. I saw him, my mirror man, standing right in front of me. My mirror man looks exactly like me. In excitement, I tried to admire him who looks exactly like me. Same height, same gender, same age, same class, same career, same country, same nationality, same view. I need to admire this, my dream mirror man. Trying to concentrate, my mind was wandering about. Trying to stand still, my legs began to itch. My bowel was so upset, I had to go down to the loo. To get myself set, no part of my body spoke at the same time. Lying down sleeping, my brain did his own job. So I have given up the search of someone who looks exactly like me. For within myself is diversity of activity going on all the time. Thank you.
My name is Ashling. I'm going to read two poems today. One's quite short and then one slightly longer. The first is entitled Words and the second one is called Survival. Words are only words. A point of view, just one among the throng, a phrase, an imminent cliché, unoriginal. The origins elude us still. That I, as a writer, can never capture a moment in its entirety for the world to cherish and show forever to the future. No, once it is lived, it is lost to eternity, and we, mere mortals, will pass, just like those futile, brittle words, those moments of our being, that string together the daily and the ordinary. For our words are all we have. Survival. Blackness, darkness, weightiness suspend me in the jaws of a 45-foot water giant, dominating the cragged fields of the ocean floor, trudging the crippling, crushing bends. My lungs give out, my eyes grow red and puffy, my words are all I have, and they are gone. Hysteria, panic, fear, yet this glowing monster, smooth and flawless, sleek and elegant despite its mass, glistening in its shiny, spotted black skin, beckons me to jump into its gaping mouth, a mere sieve, toothless as my grandfather who encountered a similar friendly foe. And maybe it would sort the good from the bad, as krill and plankton that weigh me down and shade my light from blooming, if we are to believe it was even there. And then I jete, saute, plie into trust and truth. Dark depths consume me, and yet it's oblivion and passion, the empty joy for the pure nothingness of it all, and I revel in Mr. King of the Sea. And all I needed was someone to engulf me, my soul devoured entirely and kept in some container other than my own casket, for that is no rest of sorts. So much unsaid, so much unfelt, so much pain, abandoned to putrefy in its bowels along with the waste of the world. And I look to the shore. Is there more? Is there light shining to the depth at which I dive? Am I immersed in too far, too long now to ever salvage modernity? I kick, pull with muscles screaming a language I cannot decipher, a language I cannot hear, and shouting at the sea to take me all or leave me be, make my final choice for me. As it clenches me in a chokehold, can I even be rescued now? And the church bell tolls, folds of fabric flutter in the breeze, in dazzling, piercing synchronicity with the waves, throttling me to and fro. The harp plays, twice, it echoes in my mind. The lyre forgotten for the newly forgotten, who will now be remembered. And it flashes like a camera bulb, gone before the smoke and the poof of what might have been. The distant vowels are soundless, and I watch them being shaped, flawed and meaningless. I twist and writhe to escape, I put up my fight, might I derive strength from some cave? Yet unexplored, my Mariana Trench of sorts, find a way to fight to the surface, escape the beast I once admired, and look back in years' time as other bells toll this time, and know I have survived.
A laugh out loud moment and a crying out loud moment, which for me shows the diversity of emotion. So I'm starting with the, we'll start off easy. Start with the laugh out loud moment. So it's melted since 4. So a laugh out loud moment. It's even melting as I'm really. Anyway, a laugh out loud moment. LOL.
It starts off simple, dimple to dimple. Chuckles rise, tears come from the eyes. Face expands, physiology understands. From hidden resources, volcanic forces. Tummy heaves, anxiety leaves. The onlooker gives, but what the hell? The tension escapes. A crying out loud moment. And the day came, and the phone call came, and the family came, and the night came, and the hour came, and the moment came, and the final moment came, and death came, and our goodbye came, and eternal light came, and the time of the funeral came, and the funeral of times, the funeral times came, and the funeral of time came, and the relations and the neighbours came, and the rest of the people came, and the dark tray of stories and the draw tray of stories came, and the rest of the stories came, and the rest of the stories went, and the draw tray of stories and the dark tray of stories went, and the rest of the people went, and the relations and the neighbours went, and the funeral of time went, and the funeral times went, the time of the funeral went, and our goodbye went, and the hour went, and the moment went, and the final moment went. And what came and went often comes and goes, and the rest remains, and the remains rest. Diversity in nature. Nature's beautiful flowers. In common word logi, we say weeds. Our garden flowers, chosen with love. Their origin being from cultivated seeds. Sleep in the dark of night, work in the light of day. So be it a time to rest, and then a time to play. Up and down, in and out, over and back, to and fro. We can be good or bad, happy or sad, stress ourselves out or just let go. We carry the past on our back, forgetting the present for the future to seek. Positive to negative can make our outlook seem bleak. Man and woman, girl and boy, love and hate, happy and blues. All these diversities are ours to choose. Happiness is a natural, misery a choice. Our life is the hand of cards God dealt us to play. We can't throw them in and say deal them again, but we can juggle them around and get the best from each day. Thank you.
A few years ago, at the age of 65, I ran away from home. Widowed with grown children, instead of signing up for Medicare and playing with the grandchildren, I flew to Ireland. After 20 years of itchy feet that took me from Alaska to Argentina, Russia to China, and more, I had found my home. The restlessness that made me a traveler brought me to Ireland through the walking company Southwest Walks Ireland. Walking holidays appealed to me as a way to see the world. I signed up for the Dingle Way Walk, thinking in the future I would explore Italy or England or Greece on foot. Instead, I kept walking with Southwest Walks, and every year I would spend time in Ireland before or after. I stayed in Wexford and Waterford and Wicklow, Cork and Galway and Dublin, and more, but every time I arrived in Killarney, it felt like where I belonged. Finally, after 10 years of flying over and back every year, I packed up, more books than clothes, and moved to Killarney. This is the story of my first 3 years living in Killarney, which is how long I planned to stay in Ireland when I moved over. Before I flew to Dublin with 2 friends, I mailed boxes of books to the house I was going to share when I landed in Killarney. But first, my friends and I rented a car and spent a week in Ireland and then a week in Scotland. When they flew back to the US, I flew home to Killarney. Before leaving Oregon, I had used the website of the Killarney Advertiser to find a place to live. Most landlords did not want to rent to someone on scene or to hold a place for a person phoning from Oregon who would arrive in about 6 weeks. I ended up renting a room in a house with 2 others. Leo is from London and works at Gaby's, a very nice seafood restaurant. It's expensive, so I've only been there once when Sam, Marilyn, and I were in Killarney to drop off my luggage. Sandra is from Germany and works in the bar at the Ross Hotel. Both are gone most evenings, and Sandra has a boyfriend, so is gone a lot of the time, even when she's not working. Both are very nice. They do smoke, so that is sometimes a problem for me. The house is adequate. My room is small, but okay. I'm using my boxes of books for tables, and that works. The rest of the house is good size, and we have a backyard. Also, we have a washer and a dryer. The washer's in the kitchen, but the dryer's in the shed and has to be plugged in for use. Usually the clothesline is sufficient. We share the electric bill, and electricity is expensive here. According to an article I read from pricerunners.co.uk, it says Ireland is the 4th most expensive country in the world. Ireland comes behind Norway, Denmark, and France, and just ahead of Sweden in the top 5 expensive places to live list. I was surprised to read that the US is in the bottom 5. China is the cheapest place to live, then Hungary, Lithuania, US, and Portugal. That was in 2008. I arrived in Killarney by train about 5 p.m. on a nice evening in June. As I pulled my suitcase towards my new home, I ran into Leo going into town on an errand. I was settling into my small room when Leo returned. His errand had been to buy a box of Lindt chocolates for me. What a nice welcome. Leo had also carried to my room the 5 boxes of books that I had sent ahead, above and beyond. After we visited for a bit, Leo got ready for work, and I walked to town center about 5 minutes from the house for dinner. Not able to kick over all American habits, I went to Subway. Ice and free refills of Diet Coke is an alluring incentive. Diet Coke is expensive in Killarney, and Subway is the only place I have come across that does free refills.
This is a poem entitled The Day of the Poem, and it's about any day at all that I spent at home around our house with my wife, my long-suffering wife, who tolerates me and deserves medals for that. But in that structure, it gave me scope to mention holidays we had and wonderful times. So I think it qualifies us for diversity. The day of the poem. No, you might have said. You smiled and pointed as you stood among shrubs. Once you stood waist-deep in water that heaved and lived. How often you denied you disliked water, asserting that you loved it when it moved slowly. You had held our children in water inside you, always plural, when they broke. All that matters. Now we can smile, happy with the slow hours and the light that bends, they say, around stars. And happy too with the few untruths we allow ourselves that can easily be swatted away, like that persistent November fly who earlier hurled himself against the window, trying to reach a word that would kill him softly. He lost importance as we part our premonitions that easy Thursday and walked by the few trees that still had their leaves. We lazed and spoke of the girl we saw holding a salamander that day in the desert. She stood all in blue on the rock that her house was hewn from, built as piece by piece was hammered away. We tolerated the heat and rejoiced in the sun and the sand. Those times have become anecdotes, pleasing again on days like this. We lived those seconds in the sand and the lakes of salt, and to give eternity its due, we kept our faces to the sun as a drop behind a dune. We lived what many had said of the desert. Now the day is ending, and there's the eminence of the stars, the freshness of frost, and the comfort of a day we can always relive again. Thank you.
The Irishman. See him in the early hours, pulling up worn Wellingtons in dark clothing, the shape-shifter, shadow dancer, by wind, by rain, and the cold breath of night. Past snorting horse, cantering clouds, steal away every glimpse of the moon, brightening in pale white light, then gone, gone as quick, treading cautiously a path for all those before and after. Steaming breath, heart pumping, lie still now before the tide, turn before bailiff and fox, listen for the cries of a gull. Hear the silver bass flicking its tail, splashing water, Atlantic foam between the waves. You tuck your fins and run with fruits of the sea, poacher in the night, still as the mountain lake, pure as water, the scent of heather, baby cries and bog. One day you will swim from your mother, we will celebrate you like the breeze and the poacher's bass, the raging sea, the sand. Alongside summer flowers on the meadow, we could sing to you, my wild Irish child.
Anyway, diversity, a reality. Life like the still sea, the heart that embraces her. Diversity, my curiosity, pool of ideas, we created interactive media. Diversity, a life ring, joined in understanding, friends of humanity. Diversity, stronger than the bond of politics, religion, and tradition. Thanks, and I call Noah up. Usually when I go to poetry reading, since I came to Kerry, poetry is not complete for me if Noel doesn't read. Thanks, Noel.
Still at school. My sneakers are super glued, man, to planks of wood, long woods, so we can walk tall, man, walk tall. Our teacher have both feet on the earth dirt track, man. He walks us hard, shout straightens our spines, scream spins our hips, whistle our arms into shake with the breeze. He laugh our wobbles into steady. Steady. That's what it's about, yo, man. In your country, you fall off flipping bicycles. Hee. We reach the skies. We like giraffes, man, only better when we dance to the reggae from man-high speakers. People pass and see our heads over 9 3/4 yellow wall. The old Africans, man, the slaves. They come here to Trinidad and they start all the moko jumbies, which means dancing spirits. Us older guys, we loot cars, man. But not for no joyriding kid stuff, but for the seatbelts, man. Yeah, the seatbelt's better than no rope. It wraps around the ankles and flexes real good. It do. Dragon. He our teacher hero, man. He makes stilts to die for. Oh, he our hero dragon, all for free, while we sit in class learning shit about the world outside. He sit dragon in the workshop and he take 4x4s and planes them into round. He weld metal and glue to shoes our mamas and papas provide. He fix the seat belts too and we're off, man. You get tired, man. You can rest with your elbow on top of the wall. You can roll a joint and even whip your Mickey out and take a leak. See, I told you the walls are yellow. We hose them down, though, man. Every Friday we hose them down. Don't be afraid, man. You don't have to be no age. We got 4-year-olds here, for Christ's sakes. And Dragon, he starts you off real low, like 30 centimeters or so. Or you can be a handler, man. All us needs help to get up and down. No one can walk alone. Or you can be a waterer, man, passing up the can. It sure gets thirsty up there. In our dreams, it's Coca-Cola. Or if you're a pussy man and handy with needles and stuff, you can help with the costumes. All the women do that. It do us no good nowhere else, see. We can't go to no Olympics, man. But after school, it give us something. It give us something, man. And we get hired, man. The carnival season, see, we get hired every summer. We get hired and we get paid. Imagine that. The Mardi Gras up north and one down south. See, we always get by, man. We always get by.
Turn. Look around. Faces of a different shade. Faces from the radiance of the sun. faces from the beauty of the snow, faces from the colorful east, faces from Arabia. Beyond the shade, look again. It is a face like yours, complete, unique, special, and curious. It is a face like yours. Voices from near, voices from far, different, yet equal in the sweetness of their sound. Voices from Ireland, voices from Africa, voices from Europe, voices from America, voices from Asia, voice of Australia, all singing songs of harmony in a voice like yours. Speak one another, hear with each other. Music is the language where tongues may differ, for joy has no color, and the sound of laughter is the same. Happy days are here again, and we shall celebrate. Thank you.
I'd just like to thank Writers' Week, the committee and all involved in it. It's absolutely wonderful that people will take time out of their lives to create an event like this and bring such esteem to the county of Kerry and allow people like the Tralee Diverse Writers Group to get involved and to show to the world or the county or whoever is here what exactly they do, and it allows people like all of those who spoke here today to showcase their creative talent, or else they'd be at home standing in front of mirrors, which is probably what they do preparing for events like this anyway, as I do. I'd like to thank Jane and the Writers Group. I think the work you do is absolutely fabulous, and I hope you continue and grow stronger every day. I'd particularly like to thank all of the people who spoke, read, played today, particularly the beautiful young talent, Aisling and Blonid. You were absolutely fabulous. Well done. And I'd also like to thank the drummers. That added a beautiful atmosphere to the event today, so well done, guys, and thanks a million. They're absolutely great for coming to all events around Kerry and helping out and supporting everything that goes on. So thank you so much for doing all that. I'm just going to read a poem I didn't write myself because unfortunately I don't have any creative talent like you guys. But it's by Charles Benefield. He's a pastor in the States, and when I was looking up diversity, thank God for the internet, it's brilliant. Last night I just came across it and I thought it was rather lovely. I won't probably deliver it anywhere as well as Noel does. He always delivers his poems absolutely beautifully, so thank you, Noel, for that. It was gorgeous. I am diversity, please include me. I'm present in every place you go, depending on your lens, I'm friend or foe. I'm a force to be reckoned with, like the winds of change I move, I'm swift. I'm present when two or more are together. If embraced, I can make good even better. I'm not limited to age, gender or race. I'm invisible at times and yet all over the place. Don't exclude me due to lack of knowledge. Welcome me like the recruit fresh out of college. Let me take my seat at the table, even though I may be differently able. My experience, my passion, the authentic me, can help add value for your company. Learn about me, improve my underrepresentation, and I can provide a competitive edge to your entire nation. I exclude no one, I'm strengthened by all. My name is diversity, and yes, I stand tall. Recognize me and keep me in the mix. Together there's no problem that we can't fix. I am your best hope towards true innovation, and to many I reflect hope and inspiration. Your lives and companies will continue to change, thus the need for diversity and inclusion will also remain. Do all that you can to truly embrace me and experience life's fullness totally. I am the thought lurking behind the unfamiliar face. I'm the ingenuity that helps your team win the race. I'm the solution that came from the odd question that was asked. I stand out in the crowd when I, diversity, am allowed to be unmasked. I'm diversity, embrace me and we'll journey far. I'm diversity, include me and we'll reach the shining star. Coupled with inclusion, our lights burn longer. Together we are smarter, better and stronger. I am diversity. Yes, that's me. Thank you.
Thank you all for taking out your time to enjoy our poetry reading. I hope you really had fun. And I hope you enjoyed the mixture of Irish music and African drum and Irish poetry with other poetry on diversity. I did enjoy it anyway. I hope you did too. And if you want to get more information about the Tralee Diverse Writers Group, we meet in Tralee on the first Mondays of every month at the Tralee International Resource Center in Tralee. And if you want to contact us on phone, the number is 087-063-5812. And if you want to email us on Tralee Diverse Writers Group, tdwg@gmail.com. Everybody is welcome. Thank you.